Sometimes you do not need another episode. You need the right moment, the right voice, the right truth for where you are right now. Ask Mirror Talk is a space where you can bring real questions, honest feelings, and the life moments you are navigating. When you ask, you are not met with generic advice or surface-level answers. You are met with insights drawn from real conversations, lived wisdom, and powerful moments from the Mirror Talk podcast. Whether you are questioning, growing, searching, or feeling stuck, this tool helps guide you to reflections, sound bites, and specific episodes that speak directly to what you are experiencing. This is not about fixing you. It is about meeting you. Ask what is on your heart. Mirror Talk will reflect back what may help you see more clearly.
Welcome to Mirror Talk's Soulful Conversations, where we explore the truths, stories, and wisdom that awakens our soul and empower us to live fully. Today's guest is a change maker, leadership coach, and human resources consultant who embodies resilience, compassion, and transformation. Raised by a strong, giving single mother, Teesha learned early the values of service, integrity, and faith. With decades of expertise in leadership and HR, she empowers organizations to cultivate thriving workspaces and helps individuals bloom into their fullest potential. Teesha believes in S.M.I.L.E, SMILE, service, mindful integrity, leadership, and efficiency. And she's here to inspire us to live purposefully and courageously. Welcome to the show, Teesha. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm so thankful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode for Soulful Conversation. I'm looking so much forward to learning so much from you. While preparing for this conversation, I picked the word resilience from, everything that you do. And I'm like, yeah, that is something I'm going to, really want to learn from you from this conversation. But before we go into everything that I'm eager to ask you, I would love us to play a game of wild cards. So, like I said before we start recording, I'm going to shuffle through the first stack of cards. I'm just shuffling randomly right now and looking up, and I'm picking the cards randomly. And the question is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? What is the first memory you have with me? Okay, icebreaker.
What is my first memory with you?
Yes, that's not a good icebreaker. This is right now, I guess.
My first memory with you is when I was informed of your podcast, Mirror Talk and Soulful Conversations. And when I showed interest, there was a questionnaire that was required to fill out. And what I thought about that was that you don't just haphazardly choose people to speak to. You're really intentional about who you want to speak to, when you speak to them, and how you want to portray them to your audience. So what I got from that is that you were a very thoughtful leader. And so I met you face to face today, and that just continues to embody that same level of thoughtfulness. And so that's our first interaction.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, a thoughtful leader. I'm going to take that on with me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are you ready for the next question?
Okay. Yes.
Still following the same trend with memory. It's asking, what is a core memory you have?
A core memory I have. Well, some things come and go. I'm in my menopause stage now, and so my memory is not what it used to be, but I definitely have some very fond memories. One in particular is I'm really not a person who loves roller coasters, right? So roller coasters have never been my thing. I'm not necessarily a thrill seeker, but I do like new experiences. So because of that, I will sometimes try things that I ordinarily wouldn't try. So every year as a child growing up, I grew up in Virginia, so Newport News, Virginia. And when I was there, we were very close to Williamsburg. And I don't know if you know Williamsburg, but it's a very historical area, but it also is home of one of the best amusement parks, which is Busch Gardens. So every year I would go to Busch Gardens with my cousin, and we would experience the park. The park was set up in countries, so it had different countries. It would have Italy, it would have England, it would have Germany, all different parts of the United States was represented in this one theme park. And while there, I would often get on a different roller coaster each year. And so while it took me out of my comfort zone and it was a bit frightening, it also gave me a level of trust in myself that I could overcome challenges, I could overcome anxieties, I could overcome things that I am a little bit afraid of. And so that sticks with me now when I'm in life and things are not as comfortable for me, or I may be a little bit anxious about them. I know that I can overcome them. And they may even turn out fun. A roller coaster back then was actually, once you get off, you're like, oh, that was cool. But when it was time to get on there, it was not cool. Remember Busch Gardens and the joys that surrounded that every year.
Every year. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
When you're sharing that, I was just smiling right now because I also have a similar relationship with roller coasters. Like getting on it is a very big challenge for me. Getting off is the best thing ever.
Absolutely. We conquer it once we get off.
Yes. Wow. Are you ready for the last wildcard question?
Yes.
It says, or the question is, what is a chance you wish you took?
That's a good one. I think about it often. So when I was in high school, I was again from Virginia, and I am a first generation college student. So I did not come from a family who had attended college, and college wasn't necessarily the norm. Although I was college bound, I knew I was going to go to school. It was not familiar. And so I really wanted to come here to Atlanta and attend Spelman. At that time, it seemed so unattainable. It didn't seem like something I could achieve, not because of grades, just because it was just foreign to me. And so I didn't. I actually stayed in Virginia and went to undergrad and grad school. I went to Christopher Newport for undergrad and Norfolk State University for grad school. And I had great experiences at both of those educational institutions. I learned a lot about myself, but I really wish I had taken the chance to come here to Atlanta to prove to myself first that I could do something different, in a different environment, and also make a dream come true. And so I try not to live in the past with regrets. What I rather do from things that I didn't do that I wish I had done is learn from them. And so moving forward, I try to really think things out and not let what's not familiar, or what may seem to be an obstacle keep me from fulfilling the mission and purpose of my life. And so I'm here in Atlanta now. I have spent time at Spelman. I've toured Spelman, and I often think what life would have been had I had that experience years ago in undergrad.
Yes. We never know, but I believe you're on the right track for your life. You're on the track that God wants for you. Yes.
Absolutely. I agree.
I'd like us to go a few years, before you went to college, to your story, because one thing that inspired me from you is basically that your story reflects, triumph over tribulation, and you had like a single mom also. And I would just like to learn, how did those early experiences of frequent moves and your mother's generosity shape your outlook on leadership and life today?
Absolutely. So my mother exhibited love and compassion in everything that she did. And so she was not one to let obstacles or no or challenges keep her from taking care of my sister and I. Instead, she worked harder to make sure that we had the life that she wanted for us. And she did that through showing love and kindness. For example, she worked at what we call Newport News Shipbuilding. So they work on the aircraft carriers for the United States government. And so it's a job that requires lots of physical strength when she first went in. And she didn't let that obstacle keep her from doing that job. Instead, she went every day and worked as hard as she could to ensure she could provide for my sister and I. Well, when there was time to get pay increases, she always said that she didn't focus on money. She focused on how she did her work, how she treated people, and the money would come. And so she taught us that at a very young age, not just by what she said, but also by what she modeled. And so I think of people first, not money. And so money comes, of course, we need money to live and breathe and, enjoy the finer things in life, but the focus is on people and how we make people feel. And then God will add everything else unto us. We don't want to focus on money. That's backwards. The money comes later. And so because of that, I lead first with love and compassion and consideration. And then those tangible things will come secondary. And so she was my example of that from as early as I could remember. I used to actually call her an angel tree because that's just how giving she was. And so that's what I knew. I knew that you help people, you want to support people, you want to encourage people. And so I carry that over in my daily walk with people I interact with people I supervise, with people I coach. I want to make sure that they feel that I care about them as individuals first. We still have a job to do, but I care about them first.
Okay. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm understanding, like, it's the relevance of putting people first in everything one does. Like, people first before profit, basically. And
Absolutely.
and then the profit will come automatically, and the value that you add into people's life. Yeah.
The profit will come, the advancement will come, the opportunities will come if you put people first. In many instances, we're so focused on maybe climbing the corporate ladder or achieving a certain status that people are sometimes willing to crush others to do that. Well, I am a proponent of helping to build others. We're not in competition. We're more in collaboration to help each other so that we all can climb. And so, yes, people over profit, people over promotion, people over the potential of what may come. You really want to focus on people and how you treat them.
Yeah. And today, Teesha, you are shining and doing your thing, doing great for yourself. But, one thing I don't want anyone to forget is that you had a lot of tribulations in the past. So I would like to learn from that and pick a life lesson from that. Like, if you could reflect back on everything that you experienced, everything that you had to go through to be where you are today, what life lesson would you like to, pass down or share with the listeners or share with me today?
I'd like to say that what society says is the appropriate way or the perfect time to do something may not be what your life lends to, but you still can you're more than a conqueror and you still can have success. My junior year of college, I got pregnant. And so although a baby is a gift from God and a joy, he was not planned. And it was at a time in life that I was working and I was trying to finish school. And so I could have allowed that to hinder my plans. I could have allowed that to make me feel sorry for myself. But instead, as a matter of fact, when I told my mom, her response was that babies are blessings and we were going to get through this together. And so that's just what we did. I had the baby. He's a amazing 24-year-old now. But back then I took one semester off of college because he was born in January. So classes had just started and I had a baby. Yeah. So I took one semester of classes off and then I went right back to school and completed it. So instead of graduating in August or May, I graduated in December. And so I was a semester behind. But instead of giving me reasons to complain or being looked at as an obstacle, he gave me more hope to continue to press and reach my goals. And so that's what I've done. We together had to have some hard nights. Sometimes it would be that I would wake up early in the morning so that I could do my schoolwork while he was still asleep, then get him up. We would then take him to the daycare. I would go to school, then I would go to work in the evening. So it was a continual cycle for a while until I achieved that goal. But that's just what we had to do in order to give him the life that I wanted him to have. I always put his needs first, right? So once I became a mom, he was very important to me. But I also knew that in order to adequately take care of him, I had to reach those goals that I had set for myself. The lesson in that is that what some may see as an obstacle or a challenge, you can see as the fuel that you need to push forward.
I just said wow earlier because I'm so amazed by that. I did not know that earlier. You had your child in January and you just missed only a semester and you graduated like a semester after, later. Yes. Oh, a semester later. Wow, that's amazing. Honestly, I always thought that, when these kind of things happen, when one is in school, then one misses, some people drop out basically. Or they miss like 1, 2 years, 3 years of school. Although, yeah. But you just missed one semester. Wow, that shows a lot of.
Semester he was born. So that spring semester, I didn't go to school. So I had to go back in August, and I finished that next year. So I was a junior at the time.
How do you do that? That's my question. How do you do that? How do you combine
my
that?
roles and my purpose at the forefront, right? So while it was difficult, I will tell people that some of my term papers probably had tears on them, because if the computer, didn't act right, or the baby was crying, it was so many things that I could have used as an excuse. But I couldn't focus on that. I had to focus on what the end goal was, right? So without a vision, the people perish. So I had to stay focused on the vision that was set before me. And I knew it wasn't just about me at that point, but it was also about my baby. And so he was at that age, of course, he was too young to understand, but he has watched me and my decisions through life. And so I'm sure that they have an influence on how he approaches things. And so it's always been very important to me that I model what I say. People are always watching, right? We don't even sometimes even know that people are paying attention to what we're doing. And so we have a commitment, or at least I feel like I have a commitment to those around me to model my best self. One thing I'll say, I just celebrated my 19th wedding anniversary. And people ask quite often, like, how have you been married for 19 years? That's a long time. It is a long time, but we also, first of all, we had a commitment to each other, and then a covenant with God, but also we realized our relationship was much bigger than us. It was not just about the two of us. It was not just about our family, but it was about the impact in the broader society who needed us as an example of a healthy, happy marriage. And so that's kind of how I go into life. I know that my assignment is beyond me. And so sometimes when I feel a little discouraged, or when those times get hard, because it does, I have to stay focused on the fact that it's bigger than me.
Yes, your purpose is bigger than you. Our purpose is bigger than we are.
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations on your 19th year anniversary or wedding anniversary. That's a great achievement also. 19 years in this day and age. Respect to you. I mean, it's not the easiest of tasks, but yeah, you're holding on to that. Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned something that I really want us to talk about. I mean, about faith, about the place of God in our lives. And as a Christian, I would just love to ask this also. And you describe yourself also as a Jesus baby who thrives to be at his feet, and and to be his feet and hand. So I would just like to learn from you, like, how does your faith like inform your way of life, of course, and how you empower leaders and entrepreneurs out there?
I am actually working on my first book, and the editor asked, how did I want to portray my relationship with God? And my answer is, I am nothing without him. So it's no way that I live, breathe, or have my being without him. Every good and perfect gift is from above. And so I live that out. And so when I say that I do things because God told me to, I really want to be in alignment with what he has for me. And sometimes that's uncomfortable for us. And sometimes people will ask, well, how do you know? Well, you have to be in constant communication with him, right? So you have to pray, you have to read his word, you have to assemble among other believers, and then have some quiet time to actually hear what he's trying to tell you. And so because of that, because I make sure I try to incorporate those things, and I'm very clear when he's telling me to do something. I often say that he'll give me a gentle nudge when he needs me to do something different. And if I don't pay attention, then he gives it to me just a little harder. But I believe what he has for me is an abundant life. And so I believe that by faith. And so because of that, I walk in that. I have tried him, right? So there have been situations where I don't feel like I could have gotten through those experiences without him, like the brand new mom in college, like quitting my HR director job to start my business with no client. I was only able to successfully maneuver some of those times because that was his plan for me, and I was in alignment with what he had for me. And so it's only through that faith that I'm able to have the achievements that I have, and I really do owe it all to him. It's not just words on paper, like I really do feel that. And so he also gives me hope in those times when things are very hard or very outside of my norm. He gives me hope that I'll see another day. And so faith literally guides everything that I do. I'm going on my very first mission trip on October 2nd. And I'm a bit nervous, to be honest. I'm going to Nairobi, Kenya, and I am nervous, right? Nervous because I am an accommodation snob. I like certain accommodations when I travel.
Yeah.
I don't like bugs. Like, it's so many things that I think about when I think about visiting certain places, and not the place itself. It's just not a trip that I planned. And my purpose is missions, right? So with that understanding, it gives me a level of anxiety. But what I'm more so focused on is the impact that I will make when I'm there, because God has given me that assignment.
Oh, yeah.
And so because he gives me certain assignments, I have to fulfill them because it's in alignment with his plan for me. At the beginning of this year, every single year, I do like a quote for myself. Like, this is my theme for the year. So my theme for 2025 was Teesha Takes the World. That was my thing. Now, I had no plans of going to Africa, and certainly no plans of a mission trip. Africa has been on my wish list, but that was not my plan. I'm visiting 50 states by 50. So I was more focused on the 50 states. And I also have been praying for my impact to be greater. Well, what greater way than to go to Nairobi, Kenya, right?
Exactly.
So I'm in alignment when he has revealed something to me. I just try to walk in it, even when I don't have all the answers, because I'm kind of a type A personality, a CD on the disc. I like to have all the T's crossed and I's dotted. But sometimes when I don't have that, it's when I have to have even more faith to follow his plan. And once you get to the other side, it's like, oh, that's what he was working on. So that's kind of where I am now. I am still by faith, walking blindly sometimes into where he leads me. And because of that, I feel like I'm able to more fully impact those around me. I'm more fully able to impact leaders and help them walk in their purpose, right? So sometimes people are working jobs or doing what they have to do until they can do what they want to do. But I help them through those transitions to get to the place that God will have them.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, sometimes all the time it's just best to follow his leading, because sometimes we just move in circles and circles until he says, "Hey, Toby, I told you what to do already, so just go back to it."
Exactly. Like, sometimes I learned the lesson. I got it. I understand.
I understand right now. And I'm super excited for you about your mission trip to Nairobi, Kenya.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm from Nigeria, so I hope you could go to Nigeria after that. But I also can understand the discomfort that could come with that. You do not plan for it, and you're going to a place like that. All the things that you don't get in the US. Yeah, you might just have to cope with it.
I had to get vaccinations. I'm like, oh my goodness, this hurts, but it's worth it because I'm focused more so on the mission and not me. So that just goes back to my service, right? The whole idea that I was put here to be God's hands and feet. So I can't do that if I'm focused on me. And so in leadership, leaders who put themselves first and their needs first and money first and prestige, I feel like they put their team at a disadvantage. But when we want everybody to win, we still win, but everybody else does too. And so that's just my focus.
Yes. And that makes me want to talk. Exactly wants me to talk about, your values. You've touched on service already. That is the S from the S.M.I.L.E. I would like us to talk about the mindful integrity, the leadership also, and the efficiency. I know for me, you started talking about service already, but I want you to talk about, the other values. Like, can you walk us through what this means to you and how they can transform a team organization?
Okay. Mindfulness for me, so service, we talked about that, putting our service and our mission before our selfish ambitions. I'll say it that way. Mindfulness is really being self-aware and in tune with yourself and even understanding others, right? And so what do you need? I always say that you can't pour from an empty cup. And with that being said, sometimes we work so hard to achieve that we forget about rest. We forget about self-care. We forget about renewal, but those are so important. In my early career, I worked in mental health. So I helped individuals with severe mental illness. And I saw so many individuals suffer from burnout and exhaustion. Like it just became too much. And so I'm a proponent. Every time I speak, I bring up self care because it's critical, especially to leaders. Leadership can be lonely, leadership can be difficult, challenging, and it takes a level of mindfulness to know what you need. I don't think it's important to have the most PTO left at the end of the year. No, I need you to take time off so that you can show up as your best self. Oftentimes, when I'm called in to counsel someone or place someone on a performance improvement plan or someone's performance has failed, I often ask, when was their last vacation? Why? Because you can't show up as your best self if you're exhausted, or if you're showing up already on an 8 or 9 because you're just that depleted. The minute something happens that goes against your plan, you're at 10. But if you're mindful of what you need and you take care of yourself and you show up as a 1 or 2, then you're only going to get up to maybe a 3, 4, or 5, not a 10. But you have to be mindful enough to know what you need so that you can show up as your best self. So that is mindfulness for me. Yes. Integrity is, the cliche, doing the right thing when no one's looking, right? So it's really not about what people think. It's really about being true to what's in your heart, being true to your source, your provider. For me, that's God, and really doing the right thing, right? So sometimes the right thing can be unfavorable. It can be difficult. You can be isolated for doing it. But if it's the right thing, that's what you do. And so integrity kind of guides everything that I do. I don't do things for people's opinions and favorable. I do the right thing because that's what God has told me to do. As a matter of fact, if I do something that I feel is right, but I go home and go to sleep and God convicts me, I'll go back and make it right. I said this and I apologize. Or I own if I make a mistake, not come up with excuses, all the reasons why. No, I realized when I went back and thought about it, that was an error. And I apologize. And this is what I'm going to do to ensure that doesn't happen again. And to me, that's being, integral. Leadership is leadership, right?
Yeah.
Leading by example, leading with compassion, leading with an awareness of who we are, leading with resilience, and leading with empathy, right? So all of those are core values to me that are necessary in every leader. And though I think some leaders are born, right? So I was a leader from birth. I have always been the one that people look to make the decisions, people look to make the plan. In any friend group, most times I'm youngest, but they usually call me oldest. For example, my sister, is 2 of us, my sister and I. She's 9 years older than I, but she says I'm her big sister because I just have that leadership characteristic. It just literally, I've had that since I can remember. I'm always thinking of a strategy, of a plan. If something is amiss or there's a challenge, I'm always thinking about a solution. That's just how my mind works. And I don't necessarily think everyone is born that way, but people can develop care, compassion, awareness, resilience, and empathy. And if you have those things, then I think you're able to lead a team successfully.
Oh, yeah.
And empathy, efficiency for me is getting it done, right? So we can come up with all the excuses. It's a change. It's not something I really want to do. When you plan, you sometimes put that thing that's least favorable at the bottom of the list. But to be efficient is really to map out a plan and get things done. Understanding that there has to be some flexibility, there has to be some agility, and you have to be nimble because things happen, but you also have to prioritize and then get it done. So it's really not about doing it first. It's really about being efficient and doing quality work in everything that you do. And so I am a bit of a perfectionist, a recovering perfectionist, right? So I do realize that perfectionism can hinder us in some ways. But I also want to ensure that I'm always given a quality product. And I do that through processes and procedures and actually working towards getting things done and prioritizing when other things come up that may also demand my attention. So that's S.M.I.L.E. And so I actually smile physically all the time. And so I thought, what better way to showcase who I am and what my values are than when you see me, I'm going to have a smile on my face and I'm always exhibiting those S.M.I.L.E. characteristics.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much for walking us through that,
Absolutely.
Yes. I would like to pick on leadership, if I may, because I believe it's very important. Like you said, some people are born leaders like you're always planning a strategy, you're always trying to figure things out, solve problems. And some people have to learn it, to become a leader. So from your experience and your work with people out there, I'd like to learn from you also, like how can we be good leaders to ourselves, even to our personal, to our lives in personal and also at our place of work?
Leaders are learners, right? So in order to lead, you have to be willing to follow and learn from who you're following, right? So if that's through a book, if that's who your next in line manager is, if that is through watching and modeling the behaviors of others, when you see someone that's doing something very good, then you put that in your cap. Like, that's something I need to implement. What it is not is just doing things because that's how they've always been done. What it is not is avoiding difficult conversations. What it is not is maintaining inappropriate boundaries. But what it is using your influence to get things done, right? To impact others. And I think that's important in every stage of life, that you're using your influence to get things done. And sometimes that requires you to be willing to stand alone, to be willing to try something different, to do something that you may not feel as comfortable with. I know many times people are promoted in positions because they've done their job well, right? So they have those technical skills, they understand how to build a car. They got that. But now they're in charge of a team or leading a team of people building cars and they still want to build a car. Well, no. You're at a different level now. So you have to impact those that are entrusted to you to get them to build cars. And it really is your responsibility as a leader to help prepare the next generation. And I don't mean generation as it relates to age. I mean next in line for that position. So instead of hoarding the information, instead of not communicating and not sharing, it is your responsibility as a leader to have those conversations, routine conversations, as a matter of fact. I think one-on-ones are essential because that's how people grow and learn. You grow because you understand, what you could do differently, how you can communicate differently. The more you communicate, the easier it becomes. But also that person that you're leading grows because you're giving them their glows and grows. You're letting them know what they do well and what they may need to improve on. And I love it to be sandwiched what they do well again. So glows, grows, and glows again, a sandwich. And so because of that, everybody's winning, right? You're learning, they're learning, and the job is getting done. And so in that leadership realm, you have to be willing to get that knowledge from somewhere. So if your organization is not automatically sending you to trainings, participate in them. There are books out there. I'm actually listening to, again, Brene Brown, Dare to Lead. She's on Audible. So you're in the car, listen to things that you can download into yourself. Leaders Eat Last. It's so many books out there that really tell you some of the things that I'm talking about. But if you don't innately know them, you have to be willing to put in the work to get them. Also, if you can remember someone who's led you well, what did they do? Why did they lead you well? Why do you feel that way? And kind of adapt some of those things that they're doing. Or come see me and I can coach you and help you.
Exactly. Let's plug that in already before we continue. Like, for people out there who needs to be coached, who are looking forward to becoming leaders in their own lives and also in their organizations, like, how can they reach out to you? How can they work with you to become the best leader ever?
Absolutely. My website is www.teeshacarter.com. My email is info@teeshacarter.com, and you can set up appointments both through my website and my email. And we can kind of come up with a plan, a customizable coaching plan to make sure that you achieve your goals, because everyone's goals aren't the same. And so whatever your transition or leadership goals are, we will work together to achieve them. Yes, you may have some of the tools or think you have some of the tools to achieve them on your own, but it is much easier. Statistics show that you're more likely to achieve them with a level of accountability. Just like a weight trainer. You can go to the gym by yourself, but if you have a trainer with you, you're more likely to achieve those goals that you may have. And so that's what I do. I help coach people into the life that they want. I say from ordinary to excellent. It's kind of what I focus on.
Yes. I'm going to place a link to your website in the show notes of this episode to encourage everyone out there who's interested or who wants to become a leader to, reach out to you and create that plan to become what they want to become.
Thank you.
Yes. Because I believe, we can't do life on our own. We need help. Right. We need people. We need resources to get from point A to becoming excellent in life, basically.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes it's lots of things you have to juggle to get there, but it can be done.
That's true. Yes. I would like to, seek your advice on this. Like, there are people that listen to this podcast that are leaders or want to become leaders, especially for entrepreneurs also that listen to this podcast, that a lot of people struggle with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, for example, or some people suffer from feeling stuck, basically. Like, they've been working so hard or they got to a point in their life and they're like, okay, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to move forward. So, Teesha, I don't know if you could, share some ways, some practical steps that, that people could start to make use of to bloom into their purpose.
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is essential is looking at your network. Who do you surround yourself with? So are you surrounding yourself with people, places, and things that speak life into you? Or are you surrounding yourself with people, places, and things that tear you down? Because sometimes if God has revealed something to you, he has not necessarily revealed it to everyone that's around you. And they may be contributing to your doubt, your self-doubt, and your inabilities. So you really need to surround yourself with people that you aspire to. So if you want to be a business owner, then you want to spend time with business owners. If you want to be a successful parent who encourages open communication, then you want to spend time with parents who do that. If you want to be a leader in your organization, you want to spend your time with and emulate. When I say emulate, dress like the leaders, talk like the leaders, not denying yourself of your authenticity, but becoming your best version. I always say you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So even if everyone else is wearing, and nothing is wrong with this, but wearing jeans and sneakers to work, but you aspire to be the CEO and the CEO is wearing a suit, then you probably want to step it up a bit because that's what you aspire to. I also think it's very important to create a vision board, either pictures or written. What is it that you want? And then go for it, right? Take the necessary steps to achieve it. And I also think it's very important to affirm yourself, right? So those areas that you may feel a little less confident or a little self-conscious about, ensure that you're putting words and action to achieving it, right? So if you already have the credentials, there's a book out that says, I don't need another degree, because you already have everything that you need on the inside of you. But it does take some work and it does take some grit. So you have to build yourself up and then take the step. So you cannot stay in a place of doubt. Even when you doubt, even when you're scared, take the step.
Oh, yes. You share something that's very reassuring to me. I have everything that I need within me. I just have to find a way to dig it out. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have to go searching everywhere. It is within me.
It's within you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just have to find out how to, bring it out or discover it, basically. Yes. Oh, so, for anyone who is stuck out there, they could also reach out to you, for example, and you could help them draft out some plans and
absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
get some of those resources. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Being a leader requires emotional intelligence and vulnerability. And the part of vulnerability is something that I'm learning over the years right now. Like, it's okay to be vulnerable, even if you're in a position of authority. So I just like you to, shine some light on, emotional intelligence and vulnerability as a leader. Like how do you help leaders out there to embrace the authenticity and still maintain authority?
Absolutely. So you asked a loaded question there, but it's such a good one. So I'll start with vulnerability. I think sometimes people confuse vulnerability with a lack of boundaries, right? So you can be vulnerable, you can show that you are human and you care without being everyone's best friend.
Mm.
Right? So you do have to have clear boundaries. You have to distinguish between your role and the role of certain people on your team so that things can get done. If everybody is unclear about what role they play, then things aren't necessarily going to move as efficiently. But that doesn't mean you can't ask someone how their weekend was and actually care. Right? It doesn't mean that if someone already told you or mentioned to you that they're having a new baby, you don't in some way celebrate that or ask them how the baby's doing. Like, we're human. And so you want to treat your employees like people that you actually care about, not something that you're checking off, because people can feel that. When it's not authentic, they can feel that. You don't want it to be like a check off, like I have to go around and say, how was your weekend? No. You want to really connect with people on things that you all have in common and be vulnerable in that. So if you are a football fan,
Mhm.
and the Eagles just won, you can talk about that with another football fan, and that way you all can actually connect. But the key is being authentic, being yourself, and actually caring, not just asking the questions, but actually caring, staying in tune to listen to the answer. And then, kind of remembering that so that your relationship can continue to build, because that's so important. And that kind of feeds into the authenticity piece, right? So when you show up as a figment of who you are or someone who's not truly you, people will not trust you. And trust is necessary in an effective and collaborative team. People won't trust you if you're not authentic to who you are. And I know in certain cultures that's a little bit more challenging. Even myself, I've had to give myself permission to show up as my true self. Still respectful, still kind, but it's okay. For example, my hair is natural. And so most times when I would go on interviews years ago, I would always straighten it because I thought that's what the world wanted. I didn't want to lose an opportunity because of my hair. But now I realize if I miss an opportunity because of my hair, that's not where I needed to be,
Mm.
because they're actually missing out, not me, right? So now I'm more true to who I am, and I would hope that people could see that through those superficial things like my hair or the color nail polish I have on, but able to actually be who I am and be able to show them the value I would bring to their organization. So it's important to be authentic because authenticity leads to trust.
Mm.
So that is vulnerability, authenticity, and emotional intelligence is an awareness of yourself and those around you, right?
Mm.
So how do you need to adjust in order to have conversation and impact on those that you influence? I know that when I'm hungry, I get a little hangry.
Amen to that. I'm saying,
Exactly. Then I need to have a snack around, right?
yeah.
And I know how I may be coming off to someone else. That's a level of emotional intelligence and an awareness that I have about myself. So I also need to have that about others. If someone is really a creative, they like to have fun at work. They like to do the more creative roles, then give them some assignments that allow them to know the people that are working with you, that allow them to feed that creative side while also ensuring that their normal activities get done. But it's important to know the people that you work with, build trust with them, and help them walk in their authentic self. And for the employees that may have a leader that hasn't noticed, go ask. Is it any way I could do the company newsletter? If that's a creative thing that you need. Or if you're one who needs the details and the statistics, I know this report doesn't go into all that, but is there any way I can get the background information on this? Just because that's how you learn your team and ensure that they're being fed and they need what they need to best perform their job, and being willing to adjust, right? So
Yeah.
feedback is a gift. And sometimes as leaders, as people, we don't necessarily want to hear it, but it makes us better, right? I laugh a lot, right? So I even laugh when things aren't funny. Like, for example, if someone says something to me that's very off, instead of responding in a negative way, I will laugh. So a few years ago, I was doing that. It's really a defense mechanism. Well, the individual thought I was laughing at them. I had
Oh, okay.
no idea. I didn't know that. So I apologized and I had to make sure that I was conscious of that. Try not to do that in other situations with that person because I know that's how that made them feel. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't have enough trust in the relationship that they could even have that conversation with me without fear of retaliation. You know, that comes up in HR a lot because you haven't built trust in the relationship. So that's why people don't feel like they can have those open conversations with you.
With you.
But trust is essential, and authenticity and vulnerability are required to build trust.
Mm. Yeah, so we shouldn't be afraid to be vulnerable. Yeah. Yeah. You said something that you talked. So I'll try to connect two things. Like you talked earlier about one-on-one conversations, like a leader should have one-on-one conversations, and
Mhm.
now you talked about listening also. So I'm like
Yeah.
connecting both of them in my head right now.
Mhm.
Like encourage one-on-one conversations with people that you are leading, and actually listen to them. Listen
Listen
to
to
them.
them.
Yeah.
Turn around from your computer, put
Mm,
the cell phone down, and
mm,
actually have a conversation.
yeah.
Not only your agenda, but allow it. Your agenda is important, but so is theirs. And so give them an opportunity to speak, ask questions in a safe place where they feel like they actually can have those
Okay.
conversations. When
Yeah.
someone's quitting, I know quiet quitting is a big thing now, but if someone is leaving, you should know. You should know because they should feel comfortable enough with you to tell you.
Yeah. True.
It shouldn't be a situation where they're hiding and they're scared to tell you that they're leaving because of how you may respond. No, you need to respond in a way that supports their growth and doing what's best for them and their family. I would often tell employees that I supervise, I want you to be successful, whether it's here or another organization. So
Mm,
how can I help you with that?
with
Is it a
that.
skill here? Is it a plan here? And then you move on. I want you to be successful. That's back to focused on the person and not the task or the project.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Thanks so much for sharing that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Earlier when you were talking about your life story and missing just one semester after giving birth,
Mhm.
and you finish it's just a semester, just one semester later. I mean, I'm never going to forget that story. Like it's very motivating to me actually. I mean, yeah, I mean, I love it so much. Like that's determination, and that I thought about, yeah, you putting your purpose first, putting everything that you've planned, in front of you, not forgetting what you want to achieve in life. For me, that speaks to resilience. Like that's been resilient, no matter how difficult the situation was, the changes that came into your life, you were very resilient and you pushed through. So now I just want you to shine more light on that. Like as a leader, how can I be resilient in an organization, going through changes in the organization, dealing with a lot of human beings in the organization? How can I be resilient still to be a good leader and to achieve my goals?
I think to stay focused on your goals, right? So, what is your ultimate plan? Why do you do what you do?
Mm,
Understanding when you come in that it may be difficult, it may be lonely. I think also, so focused on your plan, your goal, and then also taking care of yourself. So, it's no way back to the inability to pour from an empty cup. It's no way to practice resilience, and be equipped to overcome challenges if you are depleted.
mm,
So, if you ensure that you are filled and you have the things that you need and you're taking your time, then you're more prepared for those obstacles that are going to come. So, be open enough to understand that there are going to be challenges. Leadership is not always easy. As a matter of fact, most times it's not easy. But if you are prepared because you know that, you're prepared because you have taken care of yourself, then you're more adapt to handle those challenges as they come. I also think personally for me, faith is my spirituality is very important in those times because even through hard times or obstacles, I have hope. And I know that it's all going to work together for my good and in my
mm,
favor, right? So resilience is something that comes, and most people on the outside think it comes so easy for me, right?
mm.
And I probably make it look easy because I know that this is the morning will come. Like this will not last always. This is just a season, and I will get through this season usually better than I started.
Yes. Have that assurance that God will see you through and will work it out. Yeah, that's something I
Mhm,
can like.
mhm.
Yes. I'm putting those goals first, like focus on the important things.
Right,
Helps you.
right. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've learned a lot from you, Teesha. I'm so grateful, so grateful. If our listeners should just remember one thing, just one thing from our conversation today, what do you want them to remember most about, and they could make use of in their lives and their leadership journeys today?
The most important thing to me is to smile, right? So how you treat people matters most. And something as small and as easy to do as a smile,
Mm.
a physical smile, goes a long way. And so to remember to show up every day and smile physically as well as SMILE, the acronym. I think those key principles will help you excel in leadership and also help you impact those that are following you.
Yes. Smile, everyone.
Smile.
Service, mindful, integrity, leadership, efficiency, and physical smile also. Teesha, thank you so much. Once more, I mean, people can go to your website, follow you, book up an appointment with you, and you find your social media links also there. They could follow you and ask further questions there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, Teesha Carter on all social media links as well.
Thank you so much. It has been a great blessing speaking with you. Yes.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much.